Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go, this is Valley News Live at 5.
Authorities say a man choked and beat his ex-girlfriend before holding police in a standoff at Fargo South High School for hours. 24-year-old Michael Manuel Bell is now charged with terrorizing, domestic violence, 2 counts of domestic violence, preventing arrest, and criminal mischief. Court records state Bell choked, beat, and even held a knife to the victim's throat Tuesday night. According to court documents, when the victim tried to escape, Bell jumped onto her windshield, causing damage before she eventually got away. Police say Bell later showed up to South High School, where police were talking to the victim. Bell was arrested when the standoff ended. New for you now at 5, a West Fargo man is now in jail after shooting 3 BB gun rounds, according to police, into the back of a random unoccupied vehicle. It happened around 2 this afternoon in West Fargo when 39-year-old Levi Glazer was arrested for reckless endangerment, interference with officers, criminal mischief, discharge of a firearm, and multiple drug charges. No injuries have been reported. The man accused of shooting a Grafton police officer earlier this month has now been indicted for federal drug trafficking charges. 37-year-old Ruben Cruz is charged with several things, including possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance and use of a firearm in relation to a drug trafficking crime. Documents show Cruz has also been indicted by a South Dakota grand jury on a separate drug trafficking charge. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with officials this morning on what this now means for the case.
The defendant in this case walked into that day as an alleged drug dealer. He moved himself beyond being a conspirator, beyond being a drug dealer, a drug dealing conspirator. He moved himself, we allege, to being an attempted cop killer.
A federal drug warrant out of South Dakota is what officials say led Grafton area officers to this front door for Ruben Cruz just before midnight on August 14th. Police say Cruz fled on foot while firing several rounds at law enforcement, striking Grafton officer Lucas Campoverde at least once in the chest.
It was the first time in Grafton's history that there had been an exchange of gunfire with law enforcement.
Police say Grafton officer Casey Jones returned fire and injured Cruz, and say Jones has since been placed on administrative leave while officials continue to investigate the incident. South Dakota documents say in March, Cruz possessed more than 500 grams of a substance containing meth with intent to distribute it. But prosecutors in both North and South Dakota have agreed the North Dakota indictment will go before the one in South Dakota. And U.S. Attorney Drew Wrigley went on to emphasize the importance of this case, highlighting what he described as a long last 3 months for North Dakota law enforcement.
We've had riots in downtown Fargo where men and women in uniform were pelted with bottles, with rocks. We had Officer Holte murdered in the line of duty. Deputy Nord injured in the line of duty. And now this.
Adding, if convicted, Ruben Cruz faces a mandatory minimum of 20 years in federal prison. In Grand Forks, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Bail has not been set yet for Cruz. Officials say a trial date has tentatively been set for November 3rd. It's been humid out there today, but maybe we'll get some relief now that the rain has moved through. Here's Hutch with a look at your evening forecast. Hey, Hutch.
Andrea, thank you so much. We do have showers and thunder showers that we began our day with, now pushing into Duluth. Our easternmost counties, Hubbard and portions of Wadena, still seeing just a couple of sprinkles out there. As we see continued hazy skies in Fargo, a look out to the west shows a decrease in cloud cover in that direction. We'll be in the 70s through sunset, and then after that we'll dip into the 60s. Grand Forks, your time of sunset tonight is going to be at 8:20 with those 70s aplenty through the evening. Your skies clearing out as well. There's a little Thursday thunder in the forecast. I'll have details on that, and we'll look ahead towards your weekend ahead here, Andrea, in just a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch. Take a look at this. Behind me is a live look in Galveston, Texas, as Hurricane Laura approaches the shoreline. Along the Gulf Coast, the time to prepare or evacuate is just about over. Hurricane Laura is set to make landfall near the Texas-Louisiana border early Thursday morning. It is now a powerful Category 4 hurricane. The National Hurricane Center says it will bring catastrophic damage and an unsurvivable storm surge to those areas. NBC's Chris Pallone is live in Lafayette, Louisiana with the latest.
As the hours pass, the warnings about Hurricane Laura are becoming more dire.
People need to heed the warnings they've been given and to evacuate.
The governors of Louisiana and Texas warning the 20 million people potentially in the storm's path take this seriously.
The hurricane is going to be quite severe, very powerful winds with a strong impact.
The National Hurricane Center warns of catastrophic wind damage where Laura's eye makes landfall, now projected to be at the Louisiana-Texas border after midnight. But the bigger concern is what the Hurricane Center calls unsurvivable storm surge, not just at the coast, but potentially reaching 30 miles inland.
To think that there would be a wall of water over 2 stories high coming on shore is very difficult for most to conceive, but that is what is going to happen.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
The mayor of Port Arthur, Texas, expecting the worst.
We are anticipating catastrophic damages. If you say we are anticipating loss of life.
I've been through Harvey, and I ain't finna change this. I decided just to get on out of here.
The time to prepare is over. Laura is almost here. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Lafayette, Louisiana.
Forecasters are reminding people this is not just a coastal storm. Once Laura passes on shore, Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Kentucky could see widespread flooding and power outages. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is now investigating the death of a woman on the White Earth Indian Reservation. Officials say Beth Hill was found deceased on August 5th inside a bedroom in a rural Monoman County home where she was staying. Investigators are now awaiting toxicology results because the preliminary autopsy found no signs of physical trauma. Investigators do not believe there's an ongoing threat to the public. An 18-year-old is now facing a sex crime charge after court documents state he assaulted a young boy earlier this month. Officials say Zachary Richardson was originally charged with 2 counts of felony gross sexual imposition. However, court records show one of those counts was dropped today. The court documents also state on August 4th, Richardson and the 4-year-old victim were playing in the victim's bedroom when he allegedly sexually assaulted the boy. Richardson's foster mom told investigators many of Richardson's therapists and social workers have said Richardson should not be in public alone. They also said if given the chance, he would sexually offend young children. Richardson will be in court again on September 10th. The Minnesota Highway Patrol says a fire started while a man was driving an RV near Hawley, Minnesota. Officials say it happened around 11 this morning when the RV started on fire on Highway 10 near mile marker 16, just west of Hawley. Authorities say no one was injured and the road is now open. They're currently working to figure out the cause of the fire. Moorhead Area Public Schools is asking for mask donations for students in need. The Moorhead Legacy Education Foundation is organizing a mask drive. They're looking for cloth and disposable masks since students and staff are required to wear one this upcoming school year. If you cannot donate a mask, you can also give cash.
Just really hoping to support students in need. Students are going to need to have several masks. The state is providing one and the school district is providing one.
Moorhead students begin classes on September 8th. If you would like to donate, you can drop off masks at the Probst Field Center for Education, door number 3, from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. until Friday. Let's take a look now at the COVID numbers. In Minnesota, the Department of Health is reporting 542 confirmed cases of COVID-19, along with 14 new deaths linked to the illness. Over 1,700 deaths have been attributed to the disease. Over 64,000 people are listed as recovered. In North Dakota, there are 238 new cases in the state. The death toll remains at 138. The active case count is up to 1,784. Officials now say the number of COVID cases linked to the Sturgis motorcycle rally is reportedly over 100. The Associated Press reports 103 people who attended the massive gathering and festival have been diagnosed with the coronavirus. Cases have been confirmed in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Nebraska, Washington, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. The rally ran from August 7th through the 16th and drew attendees and more than 460,000 vehicles. This year's event drew scrutiny after images and video appeared showing very few people wearing masks or observing social distancing. Popular car maker Honda will be paying the state of Minnesota $1.5 million in a settlement over defective airbags. Attorney General Keith Ellison says that payment is part of an $85 million settlement split between 48 states. The settlement says Honda failed to tell regulators and consumers about defective airbags put in vehicles that could pose a serious injury to drivers. Those defective airbags resulted in 14 deaths and more than 200 injuries in the U.S. alone. Since 2008, Honda has recalled approximately 12.9 million Honda and Acura vehicles that were equipped with the defective bags. Vice President Mike Pence will be in Minnesota this week. Pence will be in Duluth this Friday, August 28th. He'll speak at the Kluwer Public Marine Terminal at 12:30 p.m. The event is general admission with doors opening at 10:30 in the morning. President Donald Trump was in Mankato last week. You may want to put down that bag of Frito-Lay's barbecue chips. There's a recall you'll want to know about next on Valley News Live at 5.
Showers and rumbles of thunder is how we began our day here in the FM area and points east, making for a beautiful rising sun. Your hour-by-hour forecast includes a little more thunder as well. Details next.